Welcome. My name is Kevin Gunlock, president of the South Central Federation of Labor, AFL-CIO, and we're a labor council that represents about 100 unions of both the private sector and public sector, representing tens of thousands of workers in the area, the Madison and Dane County greater area. Those workers come from all walks of life. They're university workers, state workers, city workers, county workers, school district employees. They also come from the technical colleges, and then also the private sector, whether they be building and construction trades workers, whether they be industrial workers, manufacturing workers, service sector workers, and the list goes on. And they all stand in solidarity. We all stand in solidarity with the nurses at Meritor who are fighting for safer working conditions for themselves and us, as whether we be patients or people who have loved ones going to Meritor. So with that said, I would like to introduce two of the nurses who are fighting for us, and that is Audrey and Dara of the nurses, two nurses at Meritor.
Hi everyone, my name is Audrey and I have been a nurse at Meritor for almost 8 years.
And my name is Dara and I have been a nurse at Meritor for 2 years. As you know, our union is going to strike next week because we will not settle for less than what we and our patients deserve.
We are fighting for a contract that prioritizes workplace safety.
We are fighting for a contract that ensures safe staffing ratios so that every patient receives the highest quality of care.
We are fighting for fair compensation for the work that we love to do. Now, to be very clear, this decision to strike was not one that was made lightly. Management refuses to meet us in the middle on critical issues, forcing us to take this next step. But we will never stop advocating for our patients and our community.
We want to thank everyone for coming out here today and showing support. It means so much to see the solidarity across the community. We will never stop fighting for you all, and we're grateful for everything you are doing to stand for us.
We are not only advocating for ourselves, but for the well-being of every single patient that walks through the Meritor doors. Please join us on the line next week, 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday. And thank you all so very, very much.
And thank you for taking care of us. It's my honor and pleasure to introduce the president of the Wisconsin AFL-CIO, Stephanie Bloomingdale. Stephanie.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Bloomingdale, and I'm the president of the Wisconsin State AFL-CIO. And I am here to say that the Wisconsin AFL-CIO, the men and women, union members across this state, stand with the SEIU Meritor nurses. We stand with you in your struggle, in your contract negotiations, and your impending strike next week. Brothers and sisters, our strength is in our solidarity. And I want to say to you that if you end up on the strike line on Tuesday, we will be there with you shoulder to shoulder. Now you have heard from Audra and Dara, two nurses on the front lines at Meritor. These nurses and all the nurses represented by their union, Wisconsin SEIU, they stand for patient care, for safe patient care, for better wages, better working conditions for themselves. Because guess what? If the nurses that care for you, that care for us, are not safe on the job, then neither are we as patients. So it is imperative that we support our nurses at Meritor, who, together with their union, SEIU, have delivered a powerful and strong voice for not only the patients and the nurses and the people that work at Meritor, but for all healthcare workers throughout this state. And for that, we thank you. Because they are fighting for safe patient care. They are the voice for safe patient care. And they are there for also to advocate for security, not only for themselves, but also for the patients that they serve. In addition, we need to make sure that that their demands for safe staffing are heard by the Meritor management. So we implore the management at Meritor to bargain a contract with the Meritor nurses at SEIU, and let's get this thing done and make sure that our patients are safe. And once again, I want to just say solidarity, SEIU Meritor nurses. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephanie. Next, we're going to hear from another nurse, Colin Gillis, who also represents nurses as an executive board member of SEIU. Colin?
Hey, thanks everyone for being here. My name's Colin Gillis. I'm a nurse who works down the street at a different hospital, and I'm here to speak for members of UW Nurses United. We are here to say that we stand with our union siblings at Meritor Hospital. When they go on strike, we will honor their picket line and walk it with them. Their fight and our fight is the same. The billionaires and millionaires who profit off of the healthcare system in this country will do whatever it takes to increase the bottom line for them, even when it means sacrificing patient safety. Meritor nurses want safe staffing ratios because they want to be able to take care of their patients as best they can. And as a nurse who works in a busy hospital, I can tell you they are right. When nurses have to spread their attention across 5, 6, 7 patients at a time, those patients don't get the care they deserve. Nurses will always do the best they can with the resources they have to ensure their patients get what they need. And that is what they are doing right now. The people who own the healthcare industry are running a race to the bottom, where rich executives play on nurses' empathy and resilience by stretching them as thin as they possibly can. They increase staffing ratios as much as they can get away with, and when they succeed in implementing dangerously high ratios at one hospital, the owners of the hospital next door will say to their own nurses, "See, they take care of 7 patients, so can you." And so it goes, on and on. Nurses are asked to do more and more with less and less. Well, union nurses are saying no.
That's right.
We will not let our patients' safety be sacrificed for the sake of profit. Our community deserves hospitals with safe staffing ratios. There's a slogan in the labor movement: an injury to one is an injury to all. That has special meaning for nurses like me, especially nurses who work in trauma. If you suffer an injury in this community, nurses will be there to heal you. And the proud men and women in scrubs who you'll see at your bedside 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, are there because it's more than just a job. It's a vocation, a calling to care for the injured and vulnerable. It is that sacred duty to care for the sick that motivates me at work every day. And it is what inspires me to stand here today. An injury to one is an injury to all. Safe staffing at Meritor, safe hospitals for our community, solidarity forever.
Thank you, Colin. Next, we're going to hear from a union leader, Rick Wraith, with the Teamsters Local 120. Teamsters represent a lot of different workers, including UPS drivers. Rick.
On behalf of Teamsters Local 120, our 15,000 members in the entire IBT, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be part of today's event. We're here to show our solidarity and to recognize that we are all together to continue the labor fight. It is with honor that we're able to work together with our fellow brothers and sisters. As a union rep, it's our job to bargain the strongest contracts with the best wage and benefit packages, and most importantly, the safest working conditions. Got a few politicians behind us today that share that same focus to try to create the safest workplace environments. We're here to fight for that today in one of the most important sectors in the world, in the medical profession. The nurses at Meritor have successfully fought for and won their rights to bargain for a fair and equitable contract, and have had to wait far too long to be represented by the company. There is no questions that hospitals and clinics have very deep pockets, and that the workers in these facilities deserve more than what they're getting now. They deserve their fair share. And it's time for the companies to honor the rights and to get to the table and make this happen. Thank you. Equally as important again as those wages and benefits are the worker protections for our labor mates. Safety in the workplace is a right. It's not a privilege, it's a right. You heard Brother Colin over here saying a damage to one is a damage to all, and that's true. That goes across all labor. We represent, as Kevin said, people in multiple sectors. We are a general labor organization, and make no mistake that our members will stand in solidarity with SEIU Wisconsin in this labor fight against Meritor. Workers in these facilities are injured often. They deal with hostile patients, and they shouldn't have to deal with that. The patients deserve optimum care. This community deserves that, and it deserves that from these hospitals to provide the staff with the tools necessary to deal with that. SEIU is fighting for their members right now, and we support all of them in this effort. Make no mistake that the Teamsters are allies of the labor unions you see present today, and as well as all labor organizations as we continue in our collective fight for our members' rights. Together we are stronger, and these efforts will prevail. The Teamsters are here to offer our full support in whatever manner we can. SEIU, Meritor nurses, and everyone in the labor fight, we have your back, and we're ready to fight for your rights with you. Lastly, I'm sure you guys are dealing with union busters on site. It happens all the time. Remember one thing, remember what brought you to where you are today. That is wanting that representation that you've earned through election. Demanding the companies come to the table and bargain with you. Don't buy their rhetoric. You know what's right, you know what's true. Continue the fight. Thank you very much for my inclusion today. For the Teamsters, solidarity.
And we will continue the fight. Next, I'd like to introduce Mitch Johnson, who is the president of IBEW Local 159. Mitch.
Hello, everyone. I can honestly say from the bottom of my heart, there's nowhere I'd rather be today than with you all right now. As Kevin said, my name's Mitch Johnson. I'm the president of IBEW 159. Newly elected, I start July 10th. And I stand here representing the 1,400 members of my local in a clear and concise message when I say that we stand with SEIU and we stand with the Meritor Nurses Union in their fight. Exactly as we did with the UW nurses when we walked the picket lines with them not that long ago. I've looked over the negotiating terms from the Meritor nurses. None of them are unreasonable. All of them are exactly what I, as a potential patient, would want to see in a hospital. And I stand here not just as a fellow union member giving support to more union members, but this is a personal issue for me. Because a Meritor nurse saved my life and is the only reason that I am here able to speak in front of all you today. I was born with deadly food allergies, which I am more blessed than many, but still a peanut can take me out. So when I was very young, it was a Meritor nurse that very carefully and calmly and concisely, so a child could understand how to save my own life, how to deploy an EpiPen, recognize the signs and symptoms of an allergic reaction. Because of that love and care from that nurse, I am here today. That nurse just recently retired from Meritor Hospital after serving there for 40 years. And that nurse is my mother. Aww. So I got to directly see the trials and tribulations that nurses go through. My mother would be on call and be called in at 2:30 in the morning, having to go save someone's life. She told me stories of difficult patients, obviously keeping confidentiality in mind, and struggles with management, the long hours. But over the course of a long career, she gave back to this community in ways that are immeasurable and I will never truly know. And my story is not unique. There are far more people that have mothers who are nurses. There are many people in my local who their parents are nurses. Their spouses are nurses. Their children, their nieces, their nephews, their neighbors, the members of the community. So I see this right now in this moment not as just an attack on the nurses union, not just dismissing them, but dismissing an entire community. And we stand with this community. Because I want to know when I go to the hospital, when anybody I love or care about goes to the hospital, that the people taking care of them are taking care of themselves. And these folks behind me are advocating not just for themselves, but for every single patient that walks through those doors. Who on earth would not want that? I hope management is listening today. I hope they realize what they are doing and that they are attacking an entire community. That they are in the wrong, and history will judge them as such. We've walked the picket lines with our brothers and sisters in SEIU before. We'll do it again. I got no problem showing back up every time. Thank you. In solidarity.
Thank you, Brother Johnson. Next, we have a State Representative Mike Baer. Mike?
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate the opportunity and the privilege to join with SEIU today as they go upon this journey. And I want them to know that they have a lot of people at their back. And I want the decision makers at Meritor to look around and see what they woke up. See who's here today. See their brothers and sisters in labor. See the politicians. See the patients. See the people out here ready to have their backs because they're the ones who have our backs. They're the people we need on our worst days. And in my case, it was one of my best days. The day my son was born was at Meritor Hospital. Born there with a SEIU Meritor nurse at our side. Couldn't be happier with the experience that we had, but it's frustrating and disappointing to hear that that quality of care may be at risk today. And what these nurses are asking for is not unreasonable. A raise, safe work environment, and a voice in their workplace. Those are not unreasonable things for these folks to be asking for, and I want them to know that we have their back and everybody here has their back. Joined today by a couple of colleagues of mine, State Representative Jenna Jacobson, State Representative Randy Udell, saw my friend Chuck Erickson from the county board, a number of other elected officials here. Want the SEIU folks to know that you have gotten our attention. I hope you get the attention of the decision makers at Meritor as well. We will be there with you on the line. I've already seen a number of great messages shared on social media from my colleagues and planning behind the scenes to be out there with you. We will not cross your line. We'll be there marching with you. That's what it takes, a community. You are people who care about the community, and you should know that we care about you too, and we'll have your backs because you're the ones who have our backs. Thank you so much for the invitation. Good luck.
Thanks, Mike. Our next speaker is State Senator Kelda Royce, who's been a champion for workers as well as Mike Baer and many others.
Thank you. Thank you. I am so glad to be standing here with my brothers and sisters in labor, united to stand up not just for the rights of workers, but for this entire community that I have the privilege of representing. I was with you several months ago as you tried to get management to the bargaining table to talk about the issues that were most important to you and to the patients that you serve. And I will stand with you until management comes back to the table and gives you what you deserve and make sure that this community has what we need and we deserve as patients. This is personal for me too. I was so privileged to give birth to my first daughter at Meritor. And it was Meritor nurses who helped me as I was helping care for my grandmother in the last years of her life. We want, as a community, to know that we can access health care and it'll be high quality. We don't want to have to worry about whether or not the nurses are being forced to work too long of hours, or they're concerned that they won't be able to pay their rent or their mortgage, or they're worried because they had to show up for work because even if they were sick. And yet, those are the kinds of decisions that greed is forcing on our healthcare frontline workers every single day. That is why union representation matters, and that is why what these nurses are doing is so incredibly important for every single one of us if we want to have a healthy and safe community. I also want to just talk about how courageous it is for them to be striking. Not a single person here wanted this outcome. Nobody wanted to have to take this step because they love what they do. They love what they do. They care deeply about their patients. They are committed to doing so. And that is why nurses are willing to work such long hours with such demanding work for so little comparative pay and benefits compared to the value that they provide in our society. But enough is enough. And I am so grateful that you have shown that courage is contagious. And we will stand with you. And we are excited for what's ahead. We know that this community, Madison, Dane County, the state of Wisconsin, are with you, and we will be with you every step of the day until you get that fair contract you deserve. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kelda. So you have heard from our nurses. You have heard from many, many union leaders, including the Wisconsin AFL-CIO, that represent tens of thousands of members in our community. You have heard from our elected officials, and they represent tens of thousands of people within our community. And we all stand with our nurses. And I'll just tell you a very short story. I did end up in the ER one time, and I thought I was okay, and I wasn't. And it was the nurses that told me, you are not okay, and even with the blood. And I'm like, no. And then they taught, they taught me an important lesson. Listen to our nurses. Yes. And that is what Meritor needs to do. Listen to the workers, in this case the nurses, who are on the front line saving lives. And it's the nurses that are with us the day we're born for many of us, and sadly the day of our passing, and every day in between, whether it be trials and tribulations or whether it be times of joy. But it's the nurses that are there with us for those times. So let's listen to our nurses, and I'll just tell you, as a worker and a union member myself, I will not be crossing that picket line. So thank you for being here. Thank you everyone for standing in solidarity for our nurses. And now it's time for questions from the press.
For Audrey and Dara, you got quite the show of support out here today. You guys can step up to the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Just want to know, seeing all these different unions, labor groups, elected officials standing behind you, how are you feeling right now?
Confident.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see it.
At a scary time. Every day we're taking, we kind of say this is a groundbreaking thing for us nurses. The more support that we have within the hospital from friends and family, and of course to other unions, our brothers and sisters in labor, it makes this decision, we're much more confident in it every single day with all of the solidarity and support that we have.
Yeah, you said it. Yep.
Anybody else? Yep. Okay.
Further questions?
Alan, you talk about staffing levels and how difficult and frustrating it is to care for patients when there's too many to care for as a single nurse. Can you elaborate on that a little bit and what that's like in the workplace?
When a nurse is dealing with an assignment that's unsafe, they're just forced to make countless impossible decisions because you have to do more than you have time to do, and you have to choose what the most important thing of all the important things you have to do are. So you know that you're not able to be at the bedside with each of your patients as much as you'd like to be, and that's what causes burnout and moral injury. So it's a really tough experience for the nurse, but you know what? It's not about what the nurse is experiencing. Like we're under emotional distress when we're working short, but it's the patients that are really suffering, right? Because they're the ones who have to wait just a little bit longer for that medication, for that reposition, for that cleanup, to get them feeling comfortable and safe, which is what they deserve.
Can I elaborate on that as well? So in addition to safe staffing that we are fighting for, a lot of our staffing ratios and the push for that is also so that we can do the job that we want to do. What is expected of us continues to increase and increase and increase, but our staffing isn't meeting that. I have to do so much more charting and so much more cares and so many more protocols that I now need to follow that my bedside manner and the time that I like to spend and emotional support I like to give to my patient is suffering. And that is the reason I became a nurse. And so I might be meeting the bare minimum that Meritor is expecting of me, but I want to give more than that. And with safe staffing and safe patient ratios and what we are asking for bare minimum, we feel like we can do our jobs better and safer.
That's right. Great.
Any further questions?
What can people expect on Tuesday when the big line starts and who all is going to be there?
Okay. You can try. I'll lose.
So they're gonna have travelers or agencies, what many people know them, to staff the hospital. So all of our patients are still gonna be cared for, but I like to think that us, as the people that work there daily, we're maybe just a little bit more invested in these patients. You know, this is our community, these are our people. So when you come in, maybe there's just a little bit more that we're giving than these people that are coming, you know, from either down the street or across the country to help care for our patients so that we can stand strong. But we just, you know, we probably care just a little bit more than people that really aren't Madison, they aren't Wisconsin.
Yeah. I just want to say also, first, SEIU will have a schedule of the strike. The unions will be showing up, all of the allies will be showing up, and so that's what the strike line will look like. It will be nurses and many, many others. But I also I'm not a nurse, so I'm not an expert on this, but my brother's life was actually saved at the VA hospital here in town. And he told me the reason his life was saved was from all of the workers there, including the nurses. And he specifically named them. And he said it was really important and they didn't think he was going to make it. It was really important to have that continuity of care, that the same nurses were there and the same staff were there. They knew, like he noticed, because he was observant, he knew that they were going quickly what they needed to do to save his life each time. So I think that's also incredibly important to have that continuity of care. I worked at a healthcare facility, but not in medical care, but it was actually with safety and security. So I also understand how important that is for the livelihoods and safety of workers, and including these nurses and the patients. So I just wanted to add that as well. Any other questions?
Have you seen the show of support from outside sources such as Senator Bernie Sanders' recent ex-post?
Yes, we did. Did someone want to comment on that with how you felt? Or?
We were really excited to see Bernie Sanders tweet at us today and support us. Woo! Woohoo! We've been reaching out to a lot of people with the hopes of hearing in return, but having Bernie Sanders on your side, we think is always a pretty good sign.
Yep, I would agree.
All right, any other questions? All right, thanks again for showing up, everyone, and let's just yell out solidarity for the nurses. Solidarity! Solidarity!